Hey, everybody, I'm back with my good buddy, Nathan Perrott. We had done one about a week ago, but I kind of messed up and only went to YouTube. It didn't go to Facebook. So we'll do part two, part one, whatever we want to call it. It's all good. So I met Nathan in, like, I'm bad with all that stuff, years, 2007, 8, something like that.
Yeah, right around then. Yeah.
Yeah. Nathan was in camp with the Devils, and we met through a mutual friend and did some training and got to be very close friends. And Nathan actually ended up, after his hockey career ended, he actually decided he wanted to be a professional boxer. He had a couple of amateur fights and moved down here to the lovely city of Patterson, New Jersey, and got in the belly of the beast of all the gyms down there and met a lot of great people along the way. And I think it's a great story because there's not too many dual professional athletes out there, Nathan.
Well, I wasn't that successful as a boxer as I was.
Well, no, you're like Dion and Bo and then Nathan.
Yeah. I don't think I was quite at that level, but yeah, I did get paid a few bucks to box, so that was, I was professional, so that was good. But
well, for anybody who doesn't, not familiar intimately with the boxing game, it's not easy. And like so I don't want you to kind of downplay what you did, because to fight professionally, it's a big hill to climb.
Yeah, I was talking to a promoter who was the first guy there I beat. What was his name again?
I know, he's African.
Nigerian from out of Philly, but he was Nigerian by birth. Kumatima, what was his
something
last
like
name?
that? Yeah.
Yeah, tough guy though, but they were really expecting him to beat me. He said,
"Yeah, you were a sacrificial lamb, and you screwed up their whole plan."
Yeah,
they really yourself.
Yeah,
Come on, man, why'd you do that?
Yeah, hey, wait a second.
And it's interesting too, because how things work out. So prior to meeting you, and probably not that, maybe within 6 months of meeting you, Lou Duva got a hold of me. And he said, "Hey, George Chuvalo is going to give you a call." Of course, everybody in Canada knows who George Chuvalo is. Mm-hmm. George fought Muhammad Ali.
Joe Frazier.
Yeah, he fought everybody. He gave Ali. I think he
fought Ali twice.
Twice, yeah. And he banged him up quite a bit.
Yeah, and Ali never knocked him down.
Right. And so George called me and said, "Hey, listen, I heard about you from Lou Duva, the NHL and your boxing. Could we get an ex-NHL player to box? It might be a great draw here in Canada." And I reached out, this again, before I met you, I reached out to a few guys and, really got lukewarm reception, because not too many people are willing to get in the ring and fight professionally. But you had some calls too, right, Nathan, where didn't they have a thing where they had hockey during the lockout, hockey players fighting boxing hockey players?
Yeah, I ended up not doing that, but when I was playing for that Quebec Senior League, they had like the hockey players go in and box in the summer, but they only were fighting like 1 minute rounds, and it was it was hockey guys fighting, like hockey fighting with boxing gloves on in a boxing without skates, right? Like it was, it's such a different sport. Hockey fighting is extremely tough and it's really, really hard, but boxing, I think, is a little bit more, scientific. And when it comes
it's a sweet science.
It's different. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. And you know what, Nathan? That's something I like to expand upon. Like, so, the sweet science is the sweet science. It is what it is for a long time. You learn a jab, you learn to throw a cross, hook, defense, catch, counter. All those things haven't changed. But tell me, there's definitely technique to hockey fighting. I mean, you just don't go in there and start winning.
100% there is. Yeah. And it just happens so quick. You probably don't get a chance to appreciate it as much unless you really understand what's happening out there. Which it's tough. I had a unique style, I'm pretty sure, but I try to overwhelm guys in the beginning. But I really wish I would have had my boxing before my hockey career. Like, and I had a little.
Do you think it really would have made a difference?
I had 100%. I probably would have learned how to take a punch a lot better, and then I probably would have learned how to slip punches and just seeing stuff, like, and being a little bit more patient and stuff. Like, I always had the I always had the jam to get in there and do it.
Yeah.
I never backed down. Like, the only time I ever turned down a fight in hockey was usually at the end of a shift. And even sometimes then I didn't, which I'd usually lose. Right. But, with that boxing training, you learn how to have some in the tank when you're tired too. Right. So just better conditioning. I don't know. I'm just thinking the fight through better too. Right. Like I probably was a way better hockey fighter after I retired from hockey from the boxing than
right. That makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
But my problem was I wanted to be a player, right? I didn't want to be a goon or whatever. Or the force. I didn't like, even though I always led my team in fights. There wasn't. I think the one year when I was in Toronto, Domi beat me in fights by like 2 fights. I think I had 16.
Yeah.
I had 16. He had 18, but I only played 40 games. He played 72 or something, right? Yeah. So, fights per game, I was way above him. But it's
Who else was
Belak.
Pelak was on that team.
Yeah, Belak was on that team. He was tough too. Can't remember how many fights he had. He was right around there too. He was tough, boy. He was really tough.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. What would you tell somebody who's never fought, and this is how I've been retained or hired by people because they're going to go play junior, and they never fought, and they want to hire me to teach them how to fight because I had a kid from Connecticut, real good player, went out to play in the USHL, and he knew he was going to get jumped in camp, and he wanted to be able. So I actually brought him down in the rink, Floyd Hall in Montclair. I put him out there with Sean, my son Sean.
Yeah,
because Sean's long and rangy, and he knows how to throw punches. And that's what we did. We spent about a couple of months. He's coming down from Connecticut once or twice a week, and there'd be no puck. We just worked on fighting. And ironically, or not ironically, but to your point, maybe it helped him because he called me up about halfway through the season. He said, "Hey, Mark, I had and he got traded, by the way. He got traded from Youngstown to Indiana." And, he goes, "Yeah, I had my first fight." I go, "How'd you do?" He goes, "I did well. I did what you told me to do." And I said, "Yeah, that's awesome, buddy." He said, "But the best part, it's the guy I got traded for."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. It can definitely help,
when you think about it in hockey, like, I always, I used to teach it in the OHL when I was coaching with Owen Sound. I'd help teach kids. And I said, there's 2 ways of going about this. I can teach you how to win fights, or I can teach you how to survive them.
Correct.
And it's a little different, but at least if you know how to survive in a fight, you can go in the corner and compete for that puck and not have to worry about if you fight anyone, because there isn't anyone in the league you're not going to be able to protect yourself against, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just wipe that fear out off the board. Now you got the confidence to go in there and just play, and And that's, you go in with a guy like myself, it's just trying to kill you, right? At least if you know I'm not going to kill you, I'm just going to probably take a bad penalty, get burned by you in the net. You know what I mean? As soon as you have that little hesitation, that's where you get the opportunity. But, obviously, idiots like myself do other things other than just fight, try and take your head off with my stick now and again, but
things happen out there. Yeah. I remember Wilf Paymont. I don't know if you remember Wilf.
I know him. Yeah. So good guy. Really good guy.
Yeah, and he was a tough kid. And 2 stories that stuck out. Like back then, they flew commercial, right? And he was a rookie, so they kind of pinned him to a seat. They were going to shave his head.
Yeah.
And he basically said, "Go ahead, try, but unless you know how to fly at 30,000 feet, I suggest you don't try." So they didn't try. I think they made him captain after that too. But he got traded to New York, and I remember him getting interviewed. And the interviewer says, "So you're kind of a lot of people say you're a dirty player." He says, I don't know if I'm dirty, but I play with an edge,
Yeah. And I've played some charity games because he played with Toronto, right? So I've played some Leaf alumni games with him. That's how I've got to know him. He's still got that. He still has that edge. Let's put it that way. He doesn't get around the ice quite as fast as he used to, but he still has that edge.
When he gets there, he's unhappy. He's angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
His brother
Really
was a
nice
pretty
guy,
good player. Roser Paymont. He was a good player as well. He
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
his older brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm showing my age. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you and I have talked many times about the possibility of just putting together a camp for fighting, but it's so much no longer a part of the game. And I know how you feel. I know how I feel. I think it's made the game a little bit more dangerous because there's no accountability. It's kind of like it is in general life now. Everybody can be a keyboard
Did
warrior.
you watch that game last night? Montreal-Tampa
No,
game?
I watched a little bit of it, and then I got a shiny object.
It was good old school hockey. Like there was the guys were finishing hits. Like not everybody.
I'll tell you what, the playoffs. I mean, the Islanders in Tampa Bay and Florida and Tampa Bay. There was some grit, and it's great to see. It's great to see some grit. But like it's just. I'm an old school guy. I liked having an enforcer or two on a team. And I know the thinking now is taking away from guys that can play. I don't think so, because there's big men who can fight now who could play.
I
think people are better athletes in general across the board, all sports now.
I'll give you my 2 cents on it, Mark.
Yeah.
I think it's how do I say this the right way? So because of all the money involved with hockey now and how expensive it is and how you really have to be wealthy and from to be able to play, to even have a chance to play AAA because of all the individual coaching, you know what I mean? All that stuff you got to pay for. So it's really tough, right? It's really tough to make it. But and I was poor growing up, and that's how I could bridge the gap was through violence, right? Because I was naturally strong. I didn't get in my skill level high until I started playing junior hockey. And the only reason I got to play junior hockey was because I could fight, right? And I learned how to fight on the streets, so they don't have that anymore. Guys like me would never play. Nope. I just end up in jail and kill someone. You know what I mean? That would be that, right? Where if you don't have that kind of, monetary support now, you don't have a chance of playing hockey. And I don't think it's right. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. If it's right or wrong, whatever it is.
You're 100% on point. And I forget who I was talking to about this, but that's what I said. I said, the thing about boxing, it's an urban sport. It'll always be an urban sport, but it doesn't cost you anything. Very little. Yeah. So it's really available to anybody and everybody. Hockey, however, sticks are $300 for one stick. Yeah. And what's bad about it too? You're gonna somewhere along the line, we're gonna miss an opportunity to see a player like Gretzky or Crosby or somebody because they can't afford to. They have the talent, but they don't have the means to develop.
Well, I'm sure we already have.
I'm sure we already have,
Mike. I'm sure we already have.
And that to me is bothersome. It's pretty bothersome. And I think you and I were discussing last time. It's a sport. It's no longer a sport. It's a business now, even with little 5 and 6 and 7-year-old kids. The private coaches and the travel programs and playing 2,000 games a year.
You see the agents coming into the rinks now at such a young age. They're 11 years old, 12 years old. And until they still haven't even hit puberty yet. So you're not really going to know what you have until after you've hit puberty. And even then, man, I don't know. Did I tell you that story with when I was in Jersey? I think I mention it the last time where not Lou Lamoriello, but Jacques Lemaire was talking to us. And so he was introducing the whole team, or they were going around introducing all the coaches and scouts and stuff. And Jacques went last, and he says, I was drafted by Montreal and I didn't make the team first year. He sent me to Texas, and he's got his French accent, right?
Yeah.
And he sent me to fucking Texas, and I fucking hate it. I'm gonna swear here a lot. Sorry, I'm quoting John Colbert. Yeah. He apparently liked to swear, I guess, but it's just when he spoke English, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, he put me with this fucking Englishman who speaks no French. I hate it. So next year I decide to play in Montreal, and I win a lot of fucking Stanley Cups.
Yeah, and that's my career.
That was true, right? So then he gets off on this tangent. He's looking at me and he's staring at me like he's got these lasers. Like he's just like like killing me. I'm trying to get as small as I possibly can, so I'm squished down. I feel like I'm the tiniest human being in the room, and he's yelling at me, but he's talking to the whole room, but he's staring at me as he's yelling. He's like, if they tell you need to work on your fucking skating, you better work on your fucking skating or you'll never fucking make it. Sorry, a little swear, but that's what he is. It was pretty funny, actually. It was like, it's a good story, right? But he was right. And he was 100% right. I needed to work on my skating, and I did, and I became a pretty good skater by the end of it. But, if I didn't, sometimes those lessons are hard learned, right? And, I went and got skating coaches and I lived in Owen Sound, right? I don't know if you know where Owen Sound is, but it's about 3 hours north of Toronto. And I would drive 5 days a week, either to Kitchener, which was about an hour and 45 minutes of a drive, or to Toronto, which was like 3 hours. Well, I could probably, back then I could do it in two and a half, right? I've been going pretty good. Yeah. Not to say I did lose my license as a teenager for speeding. So yeah. That was funny. I get to Oshawa, right? And I'm like, they're having a meeting with the general manager. Wayne Daniels is his name, really good guy. And he's like, I put my hand up after the meeting. I'm like, I don't think I should drive for the first little bit, sir. And he's like, oh yeah, just until you get to kind of know your way around. I'm like, well, yeah, but I lost my license speeding, so I don't think I should be driving. He's like, well, that's a good reason.
Yeah, that'll do it. That was pretty fun. Yeah. So, your junior career, you played for the Oshawa Generals, and you were on the right side of a couple of pretty decent centers, right?
Yeah. Mark Savard,
and then player.
Yeah, my second year, it was Mark Savard and Larry Corville my first year, and Larry played for the World Junior team and won a gold medal that year. So he was a good player. I didn't and he coaches, I don't know if he's still coaching, but he coached in pro, and he had a decent pro career. Now, I don't think he ever cracked it in the NHL. He just wasn't quite quick enough or big enough. Anyway, but really, really good hockey player, right? It's hard to make it up into the show. It really is. Luck. You got to be lucky, right? And be really good and lucky, right? Anyway, so great guy though, great teammate. So the next year they traded, and he moved on the next year. Then I was with Mark Savard and Wayne Primo, and Wayne had a lot of success in the NHL and really good players. The three of us were tearing it up actually. Mark had
Wayne played left wing.
Yeah. So he was naturally a centerman, but he was playing left wing with us.
Damn good line.
Yeah. Oh man, it was unbelievable. Like Mark broke his ankle in January, and it took a month and a half for a guy named Aaron Brand was his name. He ended up leading the league. He was a really good hockey player too. But I don't know if I think he might have had some games in the show, but not a lot if he did. But he led the league in scoring that year, and but it took him until almost March to catch Mark in the scoring race, and he hardly beat him. Yeah, because he was just so far in front, and he would have probably ended up with almost 200 points that year if he didn't get hurt. But he did. You know what I mean?
You had 30 goals your last year as junior, right?
No, it was that year. That year I had 30.
Year. Okay.
Yeah, my second year. So that same thing happened to me. My last year, I was probably on pace for 45 goals, maybe 50 if I would have got hot near the end. But I broke my leg just after Christmas. I was on a 14-game point streak, and I still ended up with 19 goals that year. But I only played 37 games. But and the last 5 or 6 games of that 37, I'd rushed back from injury, trying to get in, because I was playing for a contract, right?
Right. So, how many any other guys on the Oshawa team make it to the NHL? Besides Wayne and Mark?
In Oshawa, so me and Mark Savard did. I think Mark Savard played the most games. I was second, and then Jeff Ware would have been third, and then John Tripp played some games. And then when I was in this, he was a tough man,
right?
He played some games. I think he played 11 or 12 games with LA.
Here in New York, I think he played for the Rangers.
But he played for in German, because he had a German passport. He played pro there until just a few years ago. Really? So he was a really, really good hockey player, and really tough too. I don't think mentally he wasn't. His shoulders were the widest shoulders I've ever seen on a human being.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He won the gold medal in javelin in Ontario, all of Ontario. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a pretty good. He was a really good athlete. Yeah. So
going back to the fighting, Nathan, it's pretty fun. You know, Tom Laidlaw has me on as a guest every Monday, and it's a great little hour. We talk about training and stuff, but he was talking about when he was a rookie. Freddie Shiro was the coach, and Freddie Shiro from Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies, and I actually, you know, Freddie was a kind of a trendsetter. I mean, he went over to Russia, and was one of the first North American coaches to go see what they're doing over there. But I guess he sat down Tom Laidlaw, Chris Christopoulos, who's a big tough kid, and one other big guy, I forget who, but he said, "Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you now, you're not going to play the first 5 minutes or the last 5 minutes of the game. So try to figure out a way to make an impact in this game." And he walked out of the room. So they're looking at each other like, we get it. We understand what he's saying. Without coming right out and saying it, that was it. Yeah. And because as you said, coaches really never give you a tap and say, go fight.
Good coach.
Yeah.
Good coach. He just puts you out there when it's the right time. Give you the chance to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Give you an opportunity.
Yeah, it's tough to get in a fight and have an impact on the game when you're sitting on the bench.
Well, I don't know about that because one time, no. Sean was, I don't know, like 16 years old, and we had a kid on his team, and I was coaching the team. And the kid, my kind of player. I mean, all the parents hated him. I loved him because he was crazy. Yeah. He actually grabbed the guys who were skating by and just slugged them.
When I was in St. John's,
kid needed it.
Mark, when I was playing in St. John's, it was when I first got traded there. I went from Nashville to Toronto. But I was in Milwaukee, so we went right to St. John's. Yeah. And Doug Dowell, he played a season with the Boston Bruins, right? And it was a lot. Me and him were on the same line. I forget it. I think it's either Dwayne Hay or Brad Boyes was our center. Right, it was pretty. Yeah, I have two goons around Brad Boyes. It was awesome. Anyway, so he was sitting on the bench and he was having a rough go. I don't know what was going on with him. He was upset about something. But Darcy Hordichuk was skating by the bench, and we were playing in Springfield, and Darcy was sent down from Florida, and freaking Dougie just drills him as he's skating by the bench, like just completely laid him out. Got a 5-game suspension for it. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? I wasn't even excited. I was sitting right beside him. I had no idea. I just see him stand up, and I was like, because he was just sitting there quiet. I think he had a bad shift, and he just like right hook just right to the side of Darcy's head, and he was skating pretty fast. And he like just caught him, and down he went like a sack.
I mean, walking into it, skating into it, 15, 20 miles an hour.
Skating into it, not expecting it, totally looking the other way.
Hordichuk was a pretty tough kid, wasn't he?
Oh, he was a really tough man. Yeah. Oh yeah, but yeah. It was like, oh my God. I was like, maybe they had some beef from the years before. I don't know, but I was just sitting there going, oh my God, I can't believe he just did that. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, that team that Sean was on, I mean, that was probably one of my favorite years to coach because we had about 6. Like Sean was the calm one. So what's that tell you? You know?
Yeah.
So
good influence on him, eh?
Oh yeah. So your job now, because we talked about this last time, Nathan, but you were on a SWAT team with the power company at a nuclear plant. Now you're on the fire department at the nuclear power plant, and you also volunteer, which is tremendous. But you still stay in incredible shape because that's your job. I mean, really. Right?
I don't know about incredible anymore. Well, the whole lockdown and stuff. I do the best I can lately. But I had that surgery right on my shoulder recently. Back in March, I had surgery, and I started doing my rehab at the gym, and then like a week in, it was about a month after my surgery, I started going back and to do the rehab. And I was on a good. I felt really good about it. I was working hard, and you know what I mean. After surgery, I don't know if you've had shoulder surgery, but it takes a little bit of effort and time to get it back. But I felt like after a week into it, I was like really on the right. I had one of those they take your blood and spin your blood and put the platelets back in. Forget what it's called, PRP injection.
Yeah, I think it is PRP. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it worked out really good, and I was using this other what was it, electro or magnetic pulse therapy machine.
Yeah.
Use it for horses, right? For recovery. Right. A friend of mine does that. Her business is doing stuff with horses.
Did you find yourself sleeping after that?
What's that? Yeah, exactly. Eat a lot more hay and stuff. But anyway, that wouldn't work very good. But anyway, but it worked really well, right? Yeah. I was recovering good, and then all of a sudden the gym closes down because our communist government here in Canada decided that we should all stay at home to help stop the spread, which obviously didn't do anything other than promote other bad habits, which it did run a lot of bad habits for me. Yeah. Sitting there and not working out was one of them, but it's tough to go. I think it was still pretty cold in spring, right? Anyway, it was, so it really hampered my recovery, I thought. Anyway, but now I'm getting back into it, and I'm trying to get
well,
back.
I have to say, I mean, this is what I do, train guys. So I don't know, thousands probably at this point. I have never seen a quadruple clap push-up until you did them for me. That was insane. So if you don't know, if you're listening right now, he would explode off the floor, clap behind your back, I think twice, right? How'd you do it now?
Well, I think I did a double clap and then behind my back and then
another one before you landed.
Yeah.
So you had to get off the floor like 3 to 4
Well, I used to do the one where I just push up and stand right up. I've seen a few Instagram videos of guys doing that now.
That's what made me think
used to be special doing it, but now,
now
I'm not.
Now you're not so special. Although
I haven't seen anyone jump over a hockey net though.
Yeah, that was pretty at 245 pounds.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, Caberlet, right? Then he'd always like make you, hey, Nathan, do the walk away in the locker room.
Before the games, they get everyone fired up in the locker room.
Get the boys going. Yeah.
Some guys can score big goals. Other guys can do walking push-ups.
Hey,
walk away push-ups.
Got to win. That's all. Everybody's got a job.
Whatever it takes, right?
Yeah. So Nathan has 3 sons, 2 of which are of age to be playing junior, and Andrew's going into his last year if he's not in a camp with where's he playing? He's in Owen Sound. Where's he playing?
Owen Sound, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing for Owen Sound. And then your middle son Kevin, St. Mary's, is it?
I told the manager, because I'm the assistant coach there, right? So I told him that he's coming back, but it's this Delta variant that we all should be very, very scared of because the government tells us to be very, very scared of it. I feel like they're trying to, I think they're trying to set up for another lockdown. And if that's something that's going to happen, I'm going to tell him to play in the States somewhere if he can get a job, get a spot on a team there. I know he's
after this. Let's talk because I can get him on a team down here, a very good team. So if that doesn't work out,
he had a tryout for that Fort Worth team. He's got invite the main camp, and also for Maryland. Maryland.
Yeah.
Maryland, yeah. I don't know about team, but anyway, that's in the null. But
we got a really good program here, the Hitmen. I mean, they pump a lot of kids into Division I, and a couple of, yeah. So
he's not the best student in the world, but he's pretty.
All right,
I think he's a late bloomer. Right? So
here's your test to be a hockey player. Which hand has the phone? Try again. Which hand has the phone?
The one that's in.
I'm gonna tell you something funny. So there's a guy, John Schneider, was a cruiserweight. There was a time when Elvin was supposed to fight him actually, and the fight just didn't come off because you know how it is in boxing for whatever reason. He was a Marine, and he was on that television show, The Contender.
Yeah.
So he and I had a meeting last week. We're going to try to put together a charity boxing event for veterans. He also competed professionally as an arm wrestler. Pretty big guy. I think he fought cruiserweight. So I said, John, is it like this arm wrestling? Is it technique? Is it strength? He's like, all right. He reminds me of Scott a little bit, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
So we lock, and in his basement, he's got the platform like what they use. So we lock up, and I'm like trying to put all my body weight, everything. All the veins are popping out of my head. I'm gonna have a cardiac. And he goes, "Let me know when you begin." I'm like, "Oh man, come on, man."
Yeah.
And then he just went like
tendon strength. I think they call that tendon strength. Yeah.
Well, I think there's strength and technique to it, but yeah, it was pretty fun.
Oh, they definitely. Oh, I was doing that fire fit competition. There's a guy, Graham McKenzie. He used to be the best in the world. He's a couple years younger than me. Anyway, he just turned 40 a couple years ago. Anyway, so and he's like a phenomenal arm wrestler. And I used to be pretty good at arm wrestling, right? But I needed this shoulder surgery, and I didn't even realize I needed it. Right. So I'm like, I go and I the one year where the national championships in Ottawa, so guys were arm wrestling. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try, thinking I'm, this guy. I felt like a little girl. Like, not that a girl is weak. I don't mean to say a girl is weak in any way.
But a girl against a grown man.
Yeah, like a small child against a girl. Anyway, but it was just like arm wrestling your 8-year-old son, right? Just doesn't have a chance, right? That's what I felt like. I was like, oh my God, he's pretty good. I could see why he was now he's the second best in the world. But he's
that's crazy.
Pretty impressive, actually. Oh my God, I hate you.
I didn't see the whole game last night. What's your take on it? How did Montreal end up?
Well, they're going to have another one. They're going to have another game because Montreal won.
You think Tampa laid down just so they can win the cup back at home and have fans?
No, it was a good game. Like, Carey Price stood on his head. 3 posts. I don't know if there was I missed a bit of overtime because I was at my buddy's house anyway, so I didn't see the overtime. I got home right as they scored the final goal. Anyway, so I kind of missed the overtime period, but Tampa could have won that game easily. Carey Price stood on his head. They had twice as many shots than Montreal, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Tampa's just a better team than Montreal. Not that Montreal's bad, and they're going to be a team to deal with in the future if they can keep it together, right? Obviously with salary cap, and who knows what the salary cap is going to be after this year.
I think the only team really that matched up against them, because you need some skill. They got to be Tampa's a heavy team. They got pretty good goaltending, and they got great defensemen. I think the Islanders were really actually
that goalie's better than Price. That Russian kid, he's got better numbers than Price does, and he's awesome.
I think
if you don't get.
I was going to say, I think the Islanders were the only team that really kind of matched up well, and they fell short a little bit. It's close.
Yeah.
7 games, 1-goal game.
Well, what an advantage Florida has, though, right? Teams in Florida, because if you're going with a salary cap, it's the amount of gross, right? It's not net.
Yeah.
And there's no state income tax there, right? So you sign a guy who's maybe worth $10 million in Ontario. Or Chicago, or wherever, you know what I mean? A state that has high taxes, or Canada, which has extremely way more taxes. And Dallas has the same advantage. They get this tax advantage. You know what I mean? Because you can sign a guy for $8 million, and he's taking home the exact same amount.
Right, and that happened in basketball. That's why when the Miami Heat had that great run, because all those guys signed with Miami because there's no state tax, so they're picking up another, whatever. Yeah, that's a great point. And you just wonder if the NHL will react to it some way. Probably not, because nothing you can do.
Well, they have a program in Canada. I know that it's called the RCA. There's another 3, the S something. It's a government program they run to try and help the sports teams here stay competitive. Yeah. So they let the team. So as the individual, you just can't be a Canadian resident. So you can be a Canadian citizen if you have your green card in the U.S. or if you live any of the European guys can do it. So they contribute to this account, and the government, whatever they put in, the government invests it in whatever they choose to invest it in, and they get to keep all the interest. but you get half your taxes back at the end of the day.
Really?
So like the tax rate here is 46%. So you're getting a guaranteed 23% investment, right?
Say that again. 46%.
Well, in that tax bracket, yes, it's
So if I make $1 million, which I'll probably be pretty short on that.
You get to keep 540,000 out of it. Yeah. So but you'd get 230,000 back,
local
right?
taxes and provincial tax and all that, right?
That's including the provincial tax and federal tax. The federal tax, it's the I can't remember exactly the breakdown of it, but there's no like here. There's only provincial tax and federal tax. There's no county or city tax or anything like that for income, right? But sales tax is extremely high here in Ontario. It's 13%.
Wow.
So you get taxed to make it, and then you get taxed again to spend it. I'm like, how much are they going to tax you? Then they tax you again for living, and then now we got carbon tax. So just breathing, you got to pay tax.
Yeah,
I don't
know.
Like,
methane tax.
I'm not anti-government. I'm just anti-bad government.
You know, then they're going to start the methane tax, Nathan, which means
you
got to be really smart with your food choices.
No more beans.
Yeah, you got to like really think it through.
That would hit the Mexican food really hard, I think. Like for myself,
I remember, again, it was quite a while. I can't believe it was 20 years since I was with the Rangers, but that they had just started, like when you flew into Alberta, I think.
Yeah.
So when the Rangers, they got taxed prorated for that one day they played there.
Oh yeah. So like in Columbus is like that. I know Columbus has a city tax. I think there's a bunch of city, like, so when I was playing in the NHL, I'd have to file like 18 different returns in a year, 20 different returns, because you'd had to file returns for all the different states, all the different, the 2 different countries, right? And then different provinces, and then in some cities and counties had their own tax return you had to file. And you only play like there once or twice, you still had to file a return.
You got to time.
You get your
probably cost more to file it almost than what you had to pay for it, right?
Yeah, well,
I was kind of, as far as taxes go, I was really naive, and I didn't realize you had to pay tax on your per diem. I thought that was just like fun money, like they're just giving you money, they'll get a bite to eat, but yeah, it's income. So what?
Pay your taxes, they'll come for you. They like their money.
Yeah. It's crazy. You got to work 3 jobs just to pay off taxes on one. So
yeah.
Yeah, right. So what do you got? Are you off for the rest of the day? What's your schedule today?
Yeah, no, I started early today because we had a drill, so I was helping conduct the drill. But now I'm going to the beach, so I got to let you go to take my son to the beach.
Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, no, good seeing you, talking to you again.
Who are you going to the beach with, Bruce?
Yeah, taking Bruce to the beach. He likes. And go
Bruce
is
Nathan's youngest son, who's going to be 12.
Yeah.
July 31st, and I always remember that because it's my birthday as well. So it's an easy one to remember. Bruce's birthday.
It's coming up soon here, so.
I won't be 12 though.
No. If only we could.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not 12. I'll go for 22 again.
I'd run naked to the beach right now if I could be 12
that
again.
That hasn't changed. I haven't stopped that. Yeah. All right, buddy.
All right, I gotta run.
Hey.
All right. Thanks.
Later.
Okay. Bye.